The world had slipped into silence, a breath held tight between life and oblivion. The streets, once humming with careless laughter and the clatter of hurried footsteps, were now shadowed tombs where death roamed freely. In the dimming twilight, the sun's last embers flickered over a city fallen to chaos, where the living struggled to hide, and the dead hunted with relentless hunger. Amelia moved like a ghost through the ruins of her neighborhood, clutching the small leather-bound journal to her chest as if it were a lifeline. Her breath was shallow, every sound sharp against the eerie stillness. The air was thick with the stench of decay, the rustle of torn flesh and desperate growls lurking just beyond the cracked windows and broken doors. She was searching, not for supplies, not for shelter, but for him, Eli. Her heart clenched every time she thought of his face, the last thing she had seen before the world tipped over into darkness. Their love had been a fragile flame, flickering amid the growing dread. Now it was the only thing keeping her sane, the only light she dared to hope for in the shadow of death. The journal was Eli's gift, a collection of memories and promises scribbled in fading ink. She had memorized every word. If he was still alive, she had to find him. If he wasn't, then she would carry their story forward, a testament to the love that survived even the fall of humanity. But tonight, the city felt different. The familiar groans and shuffles of the infected had been replaced by an unsettling silence, the eerie kind that wraps around the throat and squeezes, warning of something worse lurking in the dark. Amelia tightened her grip on the journal and slowed her steps, senses sharpened by months of running from death's embrace. Her footsteps echoed softly against the cracked pavement as she turned down a narrow alleyway, the walls lined with graffiti faded by time. A sudden sound made her freeze, a soft, almost human whisper that floated through the stale air. She pressed herself against the cold brick, her heart hammering wildly. Eli. The whisper came again, more urgent this time. Amelia's mind screamed caution, but her heart overpowered her fear. I'm here, she whispered back, voice trembling. From the shadows, a figure emerged, disheveled, pale, and barely recognizable. It was Eli, but something was wrong. His eyes, once warm and full of life, were now glassy and distant. His lips moved as if trying to say something, but no words came out. A low growl escaped his throat. She stumbled back, tears blurring her vision. Eli, please come back to me. The flicker of recognition in his eyes was enough to hold her hope alive. But as he took a staggering step forward, another figure lunged from the darkness, a creature more monstrous than the ones she had faced before. With a cry, Amelia grabbed a broken pipe from the ground, her hands shaking but determined. She fought not just for survival, but for the love concealed within the shadows, the hope that refused to die even when the world around her had. And as the battle unfolded beneath the dying light, one truth became chillingly clear. In this new world ruled by death, love itself could become the most dangerous secret of all. The creature lunged with unnatural speed, its snarling maw inches from Amelia's face. Instinct took over. She swung the jagged pipe with all the strength she could muster. The metal collided with something solid, followed by a sickening crack. The monster staggered back, its guttural growl turning into a pained hiss. Amelia didn't wait. She grabbed Eli's arm, desperately pulling him toward the dim alley exit. His body was limp, but alive, barely. Eli, come on please, she pleaded, tears streaming down her dirt-streaked cheeks. He blinked slowly, and for a brief moment, a flicker of the man she loved shone through the glazed vacancy in his eyes. But the monster lurking inside fought back, clawing at his mind, drowning him in the fog of death. Behind them, the creature snarled, ready to attack again. Amelia's heart pounded like a war drum. She shoved Eli through a broken door into a derelict building, slamming it shut before twisting the rusted handle with trembling hands. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of long-forgotten memories. Moonlight spilled through shattered windows, casting jagged shadows that danced on the cracked walls. Amelia sank to the floor, cradling Eli as he slumped against her. His skin was cold, clammy, yet his breath was still faint, still real. Stay with me, she whispered, voice barely audible over the ragged silence. You're not alone. Minutes stretched into agonizing hours. Amelia traced his face, memorizing the softness of his cheek beneath the grime, the way his dark hair fell messily over his forehead. Every shallow breath was a fragile thread holding him to this world. But something was changing. A slow, creeping darkness gathered behind Eli's eyes. His fingers twitched, trembling violently, as if a storm raged within. Suddenly he coughed, harsh, choking. But then words broke through, jagged and disjointed. Amelia, don't trust. His voice cracked, heavy with struggle. The shadows, they're alive. She clutched his hand tighter, confusion and fear swirling in her chest. What do you mean? Eli, fight it. Fight it for me. But his eyes rolled back, pupils dilating as the darkness pushed harder. A sudden crash echoed from the street, a sound too loud to ignore. Amelia scrambled to her feet, dragging Eli up. We have to move, she said, voice urgent. Whatever's out there, it's coming. Eli nodded weakly, but his gaze flickered to a corner of the room where shadows seemed to writhe unnaturally, like a living thing. Amelia followed his eyes and froze. Something moved, just beyond the threshold of sight, watching. The stories were true, then. The infection wasn't the only curse brought by this apocalypse. There were whispers, shadows that had taken form, creatures born not just from flesh, but from fear itself. They hunted in silence, slipping through cracks and shadows, waiting for the moment to drag the living into the void. Amelia swallowed hard, forcing herself to stay calm. We'll find a way, she promised. Together. But deep down, she knew the darkness was spreading faster than they could run, and that the love between them was now the thinnest line between salvation and eternal night. She tightened her grip on the journal in her pocket, a talisman against despair. And with that, they stepped into the unknown, shadows lengthening around them, concealing horrors yet to come. The night had swallowed the city whole. Every step Amelia and Eli took echoed in the hollow silence of the streets, broken only by the distant, guttural cries of the infected. But the shadows lurking beyond mere infection, the dark, whispering things Eli had warned about, felt far closer now, suffocating and watching. Amelia's grip on Eli tightened as she led him through the maze of broken roads and crumbling buildings. His movements were sluggish, his skin paling with every breath. The infection clawed deeper beneath his skin, but something else, the darkness, seemed to gnaw at his mind. She needed answers. They had to find a safe place, a haven where Eli could rest, and maybe, just maybe, fight the infection that threatened to claim him. The ruined library, once a sanctuary of knowledge and warmth, loomed ahead. Amelia recalled the old caretaker's stories about hidden rooms beneath the building, rooms that might be sealed away from the horrors outside. It was a gamble, but a risk she was willing to take. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of old paper, oddly comforting amidst the chaos. Amelia found a hidden staircase concealed behind a fallen bookshelf and descended into the darkness below. The basement was cool and damp, lit only by the pale glow of the moon through a small barred window. She laid Eli gently on the cold stone floor, brushing the damp hair from his face. Rest now, she whispered. I'll keep you safe. Hours passed, each one stretching longer than the last. Amelia sat beside him, reading aloud from the journal, stories of their past, promises of the future, memories that clung stubbornly to life despite the ruin around them. But as the night deepened, Eli's breathing grew uneven. A low, guttural growl rumbled from his throat. His eyes flickered open, now clouded with that chilling darkness. Amelia, his voice was strained, barely more than a whisper. The shadows, they want me. They're inside. She gripped his hand, fighting back tears. You're stronger than this. Remember who you are. Suddenly, the basement door creaked. Amelia froze, heart pounding. A cold wind swept through the room, carrying a faint whisper, like 1,000 voices murmuring secrets from the void. From the shadows emerged a figure, neither fully human nor beast, its eyes glowing with unnatural light. Amelia stood, shielding Eli with her body. Stay back. The creature's voice slithered through the air, echoing inside her mind rather than her ears. You cannot hide from the shadows. They are the truth beneath the flesh. He belongs to us now. Eli's grip tightened around her hand, the darkness in his eyes flaring fiercely for a moment before fading into exhaustion. Amelia's resolve hardened. Not while I'm here. With trembling hands, she pulled a small vial from her pocket, an experimental serum Eli had helped develop before the world fell apart. It wasn't a cure, but a chance to push back the infection, to hold the darkness at bay. She injected it into Eli's arm, watching as color slowly returned to his cheeks. The creature hissed, retreating into the shadows, but the warning lingered. This was far from over. As dawn's first light pierced the gloom, Amelia vowed to fight, not just for survival, but for love concealed within death's cold embrace. No matter what horrors waited, she would protect Eli, even if it meant walking through the very shadows themselves. The first rays of dawn barely pierced the heavy clouds overhead as Amelia and Eli emerged from the hidden sanctuary beneath the library. The city was waking slowly, but the silence remained oppressive, a fragile calm before the storm. Eli's condition had stabilized, but the fight inside him was far from over. The serum had bought them precious time, but it was clear the darkness clawing at his mind was relentless. He gazed at Amelia with tired eyes, gratitude mingled with fear. "We need to find help," Eli said, voice hoarse but steady. "There's a group outside the city, survivors, who've developed a way to fight the shadows." Amelia nodded. "Then that's where we go. Together." They moved cautiously through the rubble-strewn streets, each step weighted with uncertainty. The infection's moans echoed in the distance, but a new threat haunted their path. The whispering shadows, unseen but always felt, like a cold breath on the neck. As they navigated a crumbling overpass, Eli stumbled, clutching his head as if trying to hold back invisible chains. Amelia steadied him, alarm rising. "They're getting stronger," he whispered. "Closer than ever." Suddenly, from the shadows beneath the highway, a chorus of guttural growls erupted. The infected surged forward, mindless, relentless. Amelia pulled Eli behind a rusted car, heart pounding. "We can't keep running forever," she said, scanning for a way out. Then, through the haze of fear and exhaustion, a figure appeared, clad in worn tactical gear, wielding a crossbow. With deadly precision, the stranger took down the nearest infected, motioning for them to follow. "I'm Marcus," he said curtly. "You're not safe here. Come with me." Reluctantly, Amelia and Eli followed Marcus through a maze of alleyways to a hidden compound fortified against the undead and the creeping shadows alike. Inside, the survivors moved with tense purpose, scientists, soldiers, and civilians bound by a single hope, to reclaim the world from death's grasp. Among them was Dr. Lena Reyes, a virologist who had been working on a cure when the outbreak began. Her eyes met Amelia's with a mixture of sympathy and determination. "We've been tracking the shadows," Dr. Reyes explained. "They're not just hallucinations. They're a new form of infection, psychological, supernatural. Traditional medicine isn't enough." Amelia shared Eli's story, the journal, the serum, and the creeping darkness. Dr. Reyes nodded slowly. "Love, connection, they're powerful forces. We believe they can anchor the mind, keep the shadows at bay." Eli looked at Amelia, a faint spark returning to his eyes. "Then we fight," he said. But as the survivors prepared for their next move, a chilling message arrived. A shadowy figure appearing on the compound's monitors, whispering through static. "You cannot escape the darkness. It is in all of you. Soon, love itself will become the last secret lost in the shadows of death." The room fell silent. Amelia's grip tightened on Eli's hand. The battle was no longer just for survival. It was for the very soul of what it meant to love and be human in a world drowning in shadows. The warning on the monitors hung in the air like a suffocating fog. Amelia's heart raced as the survivors scrambled to make sense of the cryptic message. The shadowy figure's words echoed in her mind. Love itself will become the last secret lost in the shadows of death. Eli's hand tightened around hers, his strength waning, but his resolve burning fiercely. "We can't let that happen," he said, voice raw but steady. "If love dies, we lose everything." Dr. Reyes approached, her face grim but resolute. "The shadows aren't just external threats. They feed on fear, doubt, and despair. They try to isolate us, break the bonds that hold us together." Amelia's gaze flickered to the journal she kept tucked inside her jacket, a tangible symbol of her love for Eli, and the fragile thread anchoring them both. That night, the compound was restless. Every shadow seemed alive, every whisper a threat. Soldiers patrolled the perimeter, their weapons trained on darkness that could swallow them whole. Yet the true battle was inside. Eli's condition worsened as the shadows inside him fought to consume what remained of his humanity. He locked eyes with Amelia in moments of clarity, struggling to hold on. "You have to go on without me if I lose this fight," he murmured one evening, pain etched in his voice. "No," Amelia whispered fiercely. "We fight this together." But when the compound's alarms blared, piercing the uneasy calm, they knew their fight had come to them. The shadows descended like a living nightmare, swirling and twisting in impossible shapes. They tore through defenses, feeding off the terror, attempting to claim every soul. Amelia grabbed Eli's hand, pulling him through the chaos. The journal was clutched tightly in her other hand, pages fluttering like a fragile shield against the encroaching darkness. In a desperate bid, Dr. Reyes unleashed a pulse of light designed to disrupt the shadow's connection to the infected minds. For a moment, the nightmare paused. But the price was clear. Eli collapsed, the shadows inside him momentarily subdued, but far from defeated. Amelia knelt beside him, tears blurring her vision. "I won't let the shadows win. Not your story. Not our love." As the sun broke the horizon, casting its golden light over the battered survivors, Amelia made a silent vow to protect the love concealed within the shadows of death, no matter the cost. Because in a world where darkness thrived, love was the most dangerous and most powerful secret of all. The compound lay in ruins, smoke curling from shattered walls and smoldering fires. The battle had taken everything: friends, hope, safety. Yet Amelia still clung to the one thing that mattered most: Eli. He lay in her arms beneath a broken skylight, the first morning light washing over his pale face. The shadows within him pulsed weakly, flickering like dying embers struggling against a gale. His breath was shallow, but his eyes held a flicker of the man she loved, fragile, but still there. Amelia opened the journal, her fingers trembling as she traced the inked words they had written together. Memories, dreams, promises of a future swallowed by the apocalypse. "Hold on, Eli," she whispered. "You're not alone. I'm here." Outside, the world was still falling apart, but inside this quiet moment, love burned fiercely, a beacon against the encroaching night. Suddenly, a faint glow shimmered from the pages of the journal. Amelia gasped, feeling warmth spread through her hands and upper arms. The words seemed to pulse, glowing brighter with each heartbeat. The shadows around them recoiled, hissing like a cornered beast. Love, raw, unyielding, was pushing back the darkness. Eli's eyes fluttered open, clearer now, meeting Amelia's with a spark of life. "You saved me," he breathed. Amelia smiled through tears, pressing her forehead to his. "We saved each other." But the glow from the journal intensified, revealing a hidden message they had never seen before, a secret code buried within their shared memories, a key to unlocking the cure. Hope surged through the survivors who had gathered, weary but unbroken. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a fight for redemption, for the chance to rebuild a world where love could live openly, no longer concealed within the shadows of death. As dawn broke fully over the horizon, Amelia and Eli stood hand in hand, scars and shadows behind them, but a future forged in love lighting their way forward. In the darkest of times, love was the light that refused to die,